Hey everybody, you're listening to the Total Bases podcast. I am your host Felipe, flying solo today, as this will probably be the last episode of the 2023 campaign. I've been off for a while, just battling all types of illnesses. I also lost my podcast partner Sean, who was going through some things, but mostly I was just too sick. I tried doing other episodes with other people, but scheduling conflicts. uh, I've been busy doing some wrestling podcasts with my friend Harry Siberium for his Facebook group, the Wrestling Purist Facebook group, and our podcast, obviously called the Wrestling Purist Wrestling Podcast. So go check us out there. Purist is spelled Purest. But no wrestling talk today, as much as I want to, but that will be for tomorrow's episode, as Harry and EJ and I will be joining forces to talk about the Iron Claw. Heaven needed a podcast review. So in the meantime, Heaven needs some hot stove talk, although fantasy baseball usually isn't, um, doesn't usually correlate with hot stove talk at all. But let's pretend it does as we talk about some players for next year's campaign, some players, some deep sleepers, some, I guess, what people would categorize as sleeper picks. We'll be talking about that for a while as we concentrate on offense today. We start out at designated hitter. Hope everybody can see the fancy schmancy spreadsheet. It's not a total basis podcast if there's no spreadsheet involved, obviously. So here it is. The first guy, I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name, but it's Heston Kjerstad. Let's go with that. Kjerstad for the Baltimore Orioles. So what I did here is that like for designated hitter, only 10 players were ranked on Tristan Cockruff's ranking. So basically, I'm going into ESPN's top 300 list, which is compiled by Tristan Cockruff. His last update was December 22nd, 2023. And Heston Kjerstad of the Baltimore Orioles was ranked number 7. So I was only looking at the uh, players who were ranked number 6 through 10. And ultimately, I settle upon Heston Kjerstad of the Baltimore Orioles as my sleeper designated hitter for 2024. He is currently listed as an outfielder, according to Roster Resource, in Triple A, the number 4 prospect for the Orioles last year. Yeah, I believe that. Let me see. Do I still have his page open? Yes, I do. And I believe that he had a pretty damn good minor league campaign last season, uh, showing off that power, some on base potential there. Uh, so gotta love the consistency. Yeah, he split time between Double A and Triple A, each time hitting double-digit home runs, posting high on base and slugging percentages. Was able to relatively control his strikeouts. So that's what we see. And the most important thing for minor leaguers is when you put them on a list like this for like 2024, is there a clear path to playing time? I mean, you're telling me he can't beat out guys like Sam Hilliard uh, off the roster? But excuse me, by the way, he's 20. Heston is 24 years old. He bats lefty, can play outfield, but currently listed as designated hitter. Ryan Mountcastle. I mean, I know people love Ryan Mountcastle. I just don't see it. Like, those high strikeouts really. I don't like the high strikeouts. Why settle for high strikeouts when you got a unproven rookie with low strikeouts? Who else is on that? Austin Hayes, who, yeah, he's we'll probably talk about him. Ryan O'Hearn, who's the current first baseman. All of a sudden, at the age of 29, 30 years old, he has figured out his major league niche, whatever. I still remember Ryan O'Hearn as a failed Kansas City Royals prospect. So I'm very wary of him. And Ryan O'Hearn is also left-handed, so might as well give the young kid in the minors a chance. Who's their right fielder? Oh, Anthony Santander is the switch hitter. I know he's been a mainstay, but again, he lots of power, but not a lot of skills. He's projected to post a 320 on base percentage, which is pretty low for a guy of his stature. 29 years old already. Possible trade bait. So I know the Orioles. I believe they like him from what I've read throughout the year so far. So might want to roll the dice on a Heston Kjerstad late in drafts and hope he gets some what do you call it, outfield eligibility and some more playing time. Okay, let's go over to catcher. As you can see, I've a little bit of a challenge to myself. Catchers and actually the infield positions, actually all the positions. I was looking at anyone who was ranked between number 8 in the positional rankings and 15. So you can see position rankings 1 through 15. Willson Contreras at number 9, Francisco Alvarez at number 11. Contreras at one, where was he when I did this in early November? Oh, you can't see that, but he was ranked number 10 when I was doing this in early November. So I literally updated these for today just so I can, be as updated with these rankings as possible. So he was number 10 then, number 9 now. Still, the last couple of seasons he's been drafted as a top 5 catcher. I had him in all my leagues. I was very happy with his production last season. I know that there's some rumblings about him in St. Louis, but that's expected. It's the Cardinals. They don't like any of their players. It's like a revolving door down there. Who would be their franchise player over there? And it's nobody. Really, if you really look at it, Nolan Arenado, I mean, he's a pretty much a hired assassin. I guess you could put him in as the guy who is a core player. Paul Goldschmidt at 36. I guess he's a core player. But as far as homegrown players, I mean, Jordan Walker, he was he wasn't getting consistent playing time last year, and I think he was even dropped down to the minors at a certain point. Tyler O'Neill's no longer with the team. I kept telling Cardinal fans, don't get too attached to Tyler O'Neill because you will get hurt. Harrison Bader is long gone. He's not even with the Yankees anymore. Lars Nootbaar is in there, but really, can he be considered a core player? I think he's guys like Lars Nootbaar and even Dylan Carlson, who were supposed to be the future outfield for that team. Dylan Carlson is currently listed on the bench, according to Roster Resource. Mason Wynn is too unproven, but hey, you know what? If he doesn't play like Ozzie Smith after like 2 weeks, they will send his ass down too. I'm sorry to talk about these players in that way, but I mean, it's the Cardinals. They frustrate me to no end with some of these players. I like a lot of those players, but I just don't like their situations. And but Contreras, for all his shortcomings last year, played some outfield, played some DH, along with catching. He's projected to get to 21 home runs, 343 on base percentage, 453 slugging percentage. Who says no to that from the catching position? So, yeah, and going as the number 9 catcher in rankings, and which rankings and average draft positions, they pretty much are interchangeable at this point of the year. I can make an argument that they're usually interchangeable all year long. So it's really no big difference between that and what you're going to see in drafts. And as a number 9 catcher, I would take that unless there's something I'm missing here. But I will gladly be comfortable waiting until the last minute to snatch a guy like Willson Contreras. Otherwise, there's always Francisco Alvarez, who only 22 years old. That's been a guy I've been really looking to target in a lot of leagues. And I had him for a short bit in my points league, and then I cut him, and people were trying to trade him to me, but like, nah, I don't think so. There's still some growing pains to be done there, but hoping that year 2 will be a lot easier than year 1, where he posted a sub 300 on base percentage, a batting average of hovering around 200. Projected to be a little bit better, still supplying endless amount of powers with 27 home runs from that backstop position, 232 batting average and 316, and that's the bottom line on base percentage, but most importantly, a 459 slugging percentage. So is the projection for a guy like Francisco Alvarez from the catching position. You will definitely take that. And as you guys can see, there's also I'm gonna see how much along the list I can get here. Let's finish up catcher here. As we move on to the next tier, players ranked 16th to 33. Mitch Garver, who I believe signed with the Mariners recently. Let me double check that. I know people are thinking that, well, he's going to have to share time with Cal Raleigh, but it's okay. Garver, there he is. He's a number 3 spot on the batting order for the Seattle Mariners, designated hitter. But at least we know that he could play some catcher if need be, maybe play some first base every once in a while. He hit 19 home runs in part-time playing part-time playing time, that part-time play, I guess. And projections have him at 24 home runs and a healthy on base percentage of 327 and 440 for catchers. That's pretty damn good. So he's currently ranked number 17 on the Tristan Cockcroft rankings there over at ESPN. Who's the next guy here? Alejandro Kirk. Okay, well, I know that was Sean's guy for a long time. He did not look too good last year. I know that he had some sort of illness in spring training coming into the 2023 campaign. I know he didn't play for Team Mexico, but his thing is, high contact rate guy, which did not translate to a good batting average. It did translate to a decent on base percentage last year. What are his projections on the other screen? Alejandro Kirk, 12 home runs, 276 batting average, 359 on base. And for catcher number 20, you will take that. Who's the competition over there? It looks like it's still Danny Jansen, who's currently listed as a designated hitter for the Toronto Blue Jays. So there's going to be some 50-50 split of some sort, but Alejandro Kirk should be the better hitter, although Jansen has displayed more power, but very inconsistent play as well. So Kirk should be the steady bat out of the catching position in Toronto. So now we go to the next one, 34 and 50 ranked players. There's Miguel Amaya, who I gave him a few chances last year in all my leagues to kind of show when he got called up by the Cubs to see if he could show something. Expectations fell a little short for him last year, but that's okay. He's getting his feet wet. So we look to see what he can do in 2024. Currently listed on the bench as a backup catcher to Yan Gomes for the Cubbies. Still might be another growing pains year for Miguel Amaya, but the upside might be worth it for the young backstop over there in Chicago. What are his draft grades? And in the meantime, I should also look up the other guy I have here. And let's find out who my second catcher is on this list. Ivan Herrera, who I absolutely adore. Yes, I normally don't believe in handcuffs of any kind in any sport. This is the one I handcuff right here. Willson Contreras and Ivan Herrera, your backstop duo in St. Louis. So yeah, I'm all in on Ivan Herrera. He did pretty damn good last year in the short amount of playing time he got for the big league team. But he was consistently among one of the best hitters every time I try to do research for our minor league shows. Ivan Herrera's name always showed up near the top of the list in the minor leagues over at AAA. So I am a big fan. This might be the guy, hopefully, after failing with Andrew Knizer. Is that his name? Knizer? I call him Knizer. Feel free to correct me in the comments below. So let's see. A 409 on base percentage in only 13 games last season. Yeah, there's a little bit of power lack in there, but it's okay, Young guy. How old is he now? Ivan Herrera is 23. He'll be 24 in June next year. But yeah, he might be the goods at that position. Has a nice hit tool, decent power. The fielding, he's not gonna make you forget about Yadier Molina, but what he did at AAA, albeit it was basically his second or third year playing at AAA. But last year, 10 home runs, 11 stolen bases, 451 on base percentage with a 500 slugging percentage. I know those are just minor league numbers, but I'm very optimistic at his ability to, walk as much as he strikes out. I do get excited for players like that, especially from catcher. Although I've been burned before, depending on guys like that. Oh, I don't know, like Andy Rodriguez last year, who did not meet my expectations, but it's okay. Herrera showed me something last year, and I am all in. If it does come down to me having to pick a catcher this late in the draft, I want Herrera. Getting back to Amaya, his game is power. And what did he do at AAA? AA and AAA. He hit 273 at AA, 313 at AAA. Video game numbers in both of those leagues last year before he got called up by the team. Again, was able to somewhat control his strikeouts for a rookie. It's pretty good at 25.6% strikeout rate and a decent 329 on base percentage. I might have mentioned that already. So yeah, give me the upside late in the draft out of the backstop position, which this has been the deepest I've seen in a very long time out of that position, the catching position, that is. Oh, I forgot to turn the volume down on this thing. Here we go. Let's see. Hey, Sean is watching. Randy's watching. Randy. Oh man, Randy, I'm sorry. Your birthday was the other day. I'm sorry. I forgot to wish you a happy birthday. These holidays have been hectic with me. And when I'm not celebrating, I'm in my deathbed. So happy belated birthday to you. Fami says that if there's an open spot, he will play this year. So I will add him to the big list. Let's see, baseball waiting list. There he is. Oh, he's already on it. All right. So okay. And Sean's also watching. Sean, hope everything's going well for you. Let me know when you want to restart these things if you are still interested. We're in the missing Sean position on today's show. Tristan Cassis is my sleeper first baseman. Absolutely love the kid. He showed some really, he posted some really good numbers last year. Was able to walk, almost walk. And by today's standards, I mean 13.9 walk rate versus a 25% strikeout rate. You'll take that. What is that? 0.56 walk to strikeout ratio in today's game. You'll take that. You'll be happy with that. 856 ops, and just crushed the crap out of the ball. 91.1 exit velocity, 13.1 barrel rate for a guy who's playing in his first full-time season last year. At the number 11 spot, you will gladly take that. The next Spencer Torkelson, who had another guy who had a breakout year last year. I believe he had about 25, 27 home runs. I'm pulling up his name as we speak. He will be 24 next year, right-handed hitter out of the Detroit Tigers. 31 home runs. Okay, 31 home runs, 94 RBI. He established himself as a good candidate to be a breakout, right? 31 home run hitter. This problem was that he had for a very low batting average and a very low on-base percentage, but the power at least was there with an isolated power of 213. And just like Cassis, he completely crushed the ball last year, 91.8 mile per hour exit velocity, 14.1 barrel rate, 50.5% hard hit rate, according to StatCast numbers. At number 13, if you're willing to wait around for first baseman, you could do a lot worse at that position if you decide that you're going to wait. And hell, you might even get both of those guys. Speaking of Harry's watching. Hey, Harry, if you're listening, I just mentioned our podcast, so I look forward to tomorrow's podcast tomorrow as we talk about the Iron Claw and the Von Erich story. Spoiler alert, Kevin, the last remaining Von Erich boy, still alive to this day. Number 16 to 33. Now, when I did this in early November, Vinny Pasquantino was ranked number 9. He has dropped to number 16. I'm not sure what happened there. So I need to do a little bit of homework and figure out if his shoulder recovery, I think it was shoulder surgery last year, if it has not gone well for the guy or what. But if he's healthy and he's fully rehabbed that shoulder, I am ready to go all in on him once again. He was my first baseman in all of my leagues before he got hurt with that shoulder injury, which is unfortunate. While he was healthy, though, he was struggling. He wasn't posting the same numbers that he did in his rookie campaign in 2022. But, the batting eye was there. The plate approach was there. He limited his strikeouts, almost walked as many times as he struck out. Posted a 190 isolated power, which, for a guy who was ranked in the top 8 at first base, you would expect that to be higher. But there was, plenty of, signs that he was turning things around. And then he got hurt. So look forward to see what he does next season, if he's fully healthy. And if he is at number 16, you're talking about a backup first baseman or a corner infielder. To me, that's a huge steal out of that position. Nate Lowe is the other guy I know. Many people are gonna think Nate Lowe, man. Nate Lowe kind of underwhelmed folks last year, but I still like him. I still believe in him. I know that the Texas ballpark was a Globe Life Field, something Globe Life Field ballpark in Arlington, Texas, next to Texas Stadium, Jerry World. He's durable. Nate Lowe is. He had a respectable 17 home runs, which is unfortunately, that's not why you drafted a guy like him, because he hit 27 in 22. But his walk rate went back up. He was able to limit his strikeouts. As you guys can tell, limiting strikeouts. We do have a type here at the Total Bases Podcast. Posted a really high on base percentage, 360, career high last year. So the arrow's still pointing up on this kid. He's what else? He's 28 years old now. So like, okay, that's a red flag. But still, I still like the what do you call it? The profile on this guy. I still believe in him. He has the physical attributes. He's 6'4", 220. So you think that the power will naturally consistent power will naturally come for this guy. He has the batting eye that we are looking for. He's not going to hurt you too much with those strikeouts. I know that some leagues are starting to account for strikeouts. I know all my leagues, we account for strikeouts, so that's why I mentioned it here. What does the StatCast data say? I mean, 89.8 miles per hour exit velocity on average. That's respectable. The barrel rate did drop to 6.5%. So I assume that he gave up the power for more contact. Yes, he did. 82% contact rate last year, a career high. So hopefully he can find some balance next season and produce the way that we know he can. Over at 34 and players ranked between 34 and 50, we got Alex Kirilloff at number 34. His story is that he's always hurt, but luckily the Twins seem to give him all the chances in the world to succeed. So that is worth the price of admission, especially this late in the draft for a guy who was formerly a highly touted prospect for the Twins. Former first-round pick, 15th overall in the 2016 draft. Last year, 270 batting average with a 348 on base percentage. So things were looking up, but he just can't stay healthy. Only 319 plate appearances, 88 games last year. So if he could just put that together, man, just, oh my God, this guy's, well, I better be careful. The ceiling is a roof for this guy. No, there's just a lot to like about this kid. Again, I use the word kid. He's 26 already. So, but it's, what they call them, those post-hype sleepers. This guy was a highly touted prospect, but people are forgetting about him. So that's when guys like you and me, you the listener, swoop in and snatch up a guy like Alex Kirilloff and see if he has anything left. At the very least, if he can stay healthy, and that seems to be a recurring problem over there in Minnesota. Carlos Correa's always hurt. Byron Buxton's always hurt. I'm missing a player. Luis Arias is. I remember the Twins fans were telling me that his knees were a big problem. Wasn't a problem in Miami, but it's a problem in Minnesota. Kyle Manzardo, who's now, I didn't realize he was with the Guardians. I forgot what the trade was, but there's another one of those guys who high contact first baseman. And we're hoping that a lot of the power that we want from a first baseman is latent and is just waiting to be picked up. But it is the Guardians, though, so we know that the Guardians don't play those type of games. They will opt for the high contact rate guys all the time. That is a little bit of a concern, but he did hit 11 home runs for the Tampa Bay Rays, AAA affiliate, in 313 plate appearances. What would that be? Where's the old calculator here? Because my mental math is not as good as it used to be. Who am I kidding? It was never good to begin with. You're stuck with me for the time being. In that regard, here's the calculator times 100. Yeah, 3.5 home run rate, which is not too impressive, but for a guy who hits for a high contact rate, it's definitely worth paying attention to. And hopefully the Guardians are able to combine the high contact skills with high power. Over at second base, Ha-Sung Kim had a career year last year. He is ranked number 10 in these rankings. That is a huge steal if you guys get an opportunity and are willing. Second base is deep this year, by the way. Where's that list of ours? And again, I posted the link for those who are watching live on Facebook. The list. Number 1, Mookie Betts, Ozzie Albies, Marcus Semien, Jose Altuve, Matt McClain. Matt McClain, very valuable at second base, but Yeah, he does qualify at other positions, but at one point, Matt McClain was closer to the number 10 spot than he was the number 5 spot. So I think Cockcroft saw what I saw and decided that he was going to bump him up to the as a top 5 second baseman, which is a bummer because you would have hoped to get him at a cheap price. Nico Horner at number 6, Gleyber Torres at number 7, Andres Jimenez at number 8, Ketel Marte at number 9, Ha-Seong Kim at 10. This is the deepest this position has been in a long time. Luis Arraez at number 11, you guys. That's crazy. So yeah, if you're willing to wait at around second base, wait for the first 9 second basemen to be taken, and then that's when you swoop in and take a guy like Ha-Seong Kim, who posted very respectable numbers last year, displayed some power, lots of stolen bases. There's a lot to like about this kid. I gotta stop using that. This is a grown-ass man, 28 years old. There's a lot to like about this guy at second base, and he qualifies all over the place. So I think Cockcroft has him at shortstop and third base. Where is he? Yep, shortstop, third base, second base. So yeah, you get the Swiss Army knife. Now you will come and tell me, well, he only had a 398 slugging percentage. It's okay. That's not what you're looking for out of your second baseman. I know I've been very critical of the past for some of these punch and Judy hitters, like the Nico Horners and who's a little short guy, Nick Madrigals of the world. Ha-Seong Kim, yeah, 5'9", 168, so a little bit of a scrappy guy, but he he's able to provide a lot of stolen bases, so he does produce in that regard. 17 home runs is nothing to sneeze at, so there is some pop in his bat, and he comes with a loaded contact rate of 84.3%, controls his strikeouts. There's a lot to like about him, and I expect that he can maybe not repeat what he did last year. That's impossible, but even if he gets 15 home runs and 25 stolen bases, 20 stolen bases at the most conservative figure you could think of in your head, I think a lot of folks would take that gladly. And I believe Bryson Stott was my number 12 guy. I kind of begrudgingly took him on this list. But Stott, has some pedigree, has some prospect pedigree. I believe he's a former former first round pick in the 2019 draft, 14th overall to the Phillies. He's slowly but surely putting things together. He definitely took advantage of the rule changes apropos to the stolen bases. 31 big stolen bases last year. Controls his strikeouts. Added 15 home runs, and posted a 419 slugging percentage, which last I checked, that's a lot more than Ha-Seong Kim did last year. So a lot to like there. The Phillies seem to like him. So again, if you're willing to, second base is deep this year. So if you want to concentrate at other positions, getting a guy like Ha-Seong Kim or Bryson Stott might be the way to go. Who is number 11 now that we're on topic? How deep is this position? Oh, yeah, right. Luis Arraez, who I mentioned already. So there you go. So how deep does this well go, you say? Nolan Gorman, number 16. Gorman, the high strikeout rates. That will frustrate you to no end. However, you cannot avoid the 30 home run potential. It really is. If you like Brandon Lau when he was a youngster, you'll like Nolan Gorman now at the age of 23 years old, in the hopes that he can scale back on his strikeouts and increase his contact rate. I think and hitting in the middle of the order for that St. Louis Cardinals, if Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado can continue to get on base at a consistent clip, then Gorman is the guy that is going to be there to take advantage of that. 241 isolated power is just absolutely ridiculous, especially from second baseman. And again, there's a lot of red flags, but he does try to post a high walk rate. Last year, he posted an 11.4 walk rate. But again, it's against a 31.9% strikeout rate, almost 32% strikeout rate, which is, that's crazy. And it comes with a low batting average. But again, the reason you get a guy like Nolan Gorman is because he has an endless supply of power. If we could use his bat to supply our electrical grid as a nation, I think we'd be better off. Jonathan India. So if Gorman is the big power bat, then India is the well-balanced second baseman. I still like him. I still believe in him. At number 18, he might be worth the price of admission to be a backup second baseman or a middle infield position, but that will be a knock against him, is that he doesn't play multiple positions, so that does suck for him in his fantasy baseball prospects. but that's okay. Because at drafting him that late, you can get double-digit home runs, double-digit stolen bases, doesn't strike out too much, walks enough to be, almost 10% walk rate last year. And he posted the lowest strikeout rate of his career, of his young career last season as well. So yeah, just a scrappy guy. Good. I mean, just a guy you want to root for, you want to cheer on. Exit velocity went up to 89.5 miles per hour last year. So, like I said, I like to like here. Uh, it's it's great value. I don't know, Ozzy Albies, great value, like generic version, like the generic of generic versions. So, and that's not an insult. That's just because Albies posts a lot of high counting stats. So, I still believe in Jonathan India. Wherever he ends up playing next year, I still believe in him. All right. Then we get to a guy like Jordan Westbrook, who I am really excited to see what he does in full with full amount of playing time for the Baltimore Orioles. It's an up and coming team. Yeah, up and coming team as they won the division last year, if memory serves me correct. But then they add a guy like Jordan Westbrook, who has loads and loads of prospect pedigree, had successful minor league campaigns. Let's see, he in 2022, 18 home runs at AAA to go with 9 stolen bases. Was able to control his strikeouts, even though he moved up in class in the middle of the year in 2022. Last season at AAA with more seasoning, 301 plate appearances, more another 18 home runs, only 6 stolen bases, but it's getting close. We're getting close to maybe perhaps seeing 10, 11 stolen bases from him with more playing time. I mean, combined in 2022, he hit for 27 home runs and 12 stolen bases. Who says no to that? Who says no to that? And was able to post similar strikeout rates in the majors, despite the fact that was a rookie last year. Respectable 311 on base. All things are relative. I mean, 311 from a rookie like that. This 97 WRC plus. He was, even though, again, unproven rookie last year, was only 3% lower than league average. I mean, the arrow is pointing up for this guy, and you should be able to target him very late in drafts. I think ESPN has him listed at multiple positions as well. Let me look that up really quick there. Yeah, third base. So second base, third base, go and get him. Target him, I should say, in late drafts. Colt Keith, Detroit Tigers. There's another guy who qualifies at both second base and third base. In real life, he probably plays at third base when the Tigers decide to call him up. But there's a lot to like about this kid, man. There's a real kid. 22 years old. He'll be 22 for most of the year next year if the Tigers decide to call him up. Last year, between AA and AAA, again, 27 home runs. Did a good job limiting his strikeouts. It was the highest it was in 23 was 22.8% at AA, just pretty darn good nowadays. It seems like very productive player. Very productive player. Was trying to hit for more power at AAA as well, as he tried to increase his fly ball rate. And actually, he did. He posted the highest fly ball rate in his career since he was drafted by the Tigers. And let's see here, he has 60 power, raw power, 60 game power, and it comes with a decent hit tool, which a lot of these minor league players, these prospects, it's one or the other. They either have really high power but a low to average hit tool, or a very high hit tool but low to average power tool. This guy is as close as you'll get to that well-balanced player. So keep an eye on him. Remember that name, Colt Keith. And the best part about him is there's really nothing there for the Tigers to prevent him from getting called up. If the Tigers don't call him up, there's something wrong with them. I don't care what the nefarious reasons might be that we're used to seeing from major league teams. You got to call this guy up. You got nothing to lose. You're the Detroit Tigers. You're going to, well, I mean, they're an improving team. They're an up-and-coming team, but still, It's not guaranteed. Like, yeah, they won 78 games last year, but that doesn't mean that they're gonna get to 80, 81, 82, 83 wins. And if anything, they might dip down to 74, 72 wins next year. And I mean, Matt Verling, you're really gonna prevent Colt Keith getting called up because Matt Verling is at third base or Zach McKinstry is at second base? Who's the DH? Kerry Carpenter? No, man. No, man. You guys got to take it. Detroit. Detroit, what? The Lions are going to the playoffs. They won the NFC North division. If you want to get a similar result, bring up Colt Keith already. Thank you. All right, we move over to shortstop. And I can't believe I put Matt McLain there, because his value is going to be higher at second base, and he will probably get snatched up as one of the first second basemen to go. But yeah, that's not a really good example because he will get snatched up super early. Number 8 shortstop, Matt McLain, but number 5 at second base. So yeah, he's not gonna last that long. His year was really good last year from what I remember. So I guess I should have gone with a guy like CJ Abrams or Nico Horner. But again, Nico Horner's value is more valued at second base than it is at shortstop. So yeah, but that's my fault, guys. That's a lazy pick on my end. But yeah, Matt McLain, I absolutely love the kid. I might be right about him being a kid. I mean, that Cincinnati Reds, and you guys are going to see there's a lot of Reds players on this list. So I hope you guys are ready to have me shower the Reds organization throughout this episode of the podcast. But yeah, 16 home runs for McLain last year, 14 stolen bases. Strikeout rate was pretty darn high, I'll admit, but it did come with a 357 on base percentage, 290 batting average. I know people still like batting average. 290 last I checked is pretty good. And a 502 slugging percentage from a middle infielder. Oh my God. I mean, who says no to that? What's there to hate? Yeah, 74.8% contact rate. That is a red flag. But he's a very patient guy, very patient hitter. Almost a little bit too patient, but when he connects, oh yeah, he can connect. Where's the Statcast numbers here? No, that's that's fastball velocity. He's not a pitcher, although for hitters it's different. Anyway, Statcast. There they are. Oh, geez, this is not good. Oh, there it is. 89.3 exit velocity on average, 10.8 barrel rate. Anytime it's over 10%, I'm okay, especially from a middle infielder. I'm good with that. 42% hard hit rate. There's a lot to love here, and he's going to get all the opportunities. It's his job to lose. Now, I'm a little concerned. I just noticed that Fangraphs has him listed in the AAA affiliate, but the roster resource had him at second base when I looked at it earlier today. Roster resource. Well, I'll be. Oh, no, there he is. Batting number 2, Matt McLain. 24-year-old right-hander for your Cincinnati Reds. Do we like his projections coming into the next season? 23 home runs, 17 stolen bases. So, yeah, go get him. Matt McLain, if you can, at the number 8 spot at shortstop. Maybe you'll get lucky. Maybe you'll get people who don't listen to this podcast who don't know who Matt McLain is. Anthony Volpe is ranked number 15. Now, there is a Yankee premium to this. There's more Yankee fans than anything, so you got to account for that when you do fantasy drafts. The old, excuse me, I'm a little dry in my mouth here. There's a Yankee premium when it comes to guys like Anthony Volpe. So, but at number 15 for shortstop, this is a guy you have to target when the first 8 or 9 shortstops are gone. This is a guy you need to target and even consider picking up right away when you're running out of shortstops to select there. And especially if you're like me, you're willing to wait around for middle infield positions. Anthony Volpe would be the guy to target. Again, this is another guy with a well-balanced hit tool and power tool. According to Fangraphs, he has a 60 future value, according to Fangraphs, minor league grades. And he posted pretty, I mean, if I didn't know any better, if I was just blind tested and you were to tell me that a shortstop hit 21 home runs and 24 stolen bases as a rookie, I would have thought you were talking about Bobby Witt Jr. There's a lot of red flags though. 209 batting average, 283 on base percentage, but excuse me, you can't deny the counting stats. And growing pains, rookie year growing pains. He's going to go into year number 2. So we're hoping, I know people do still believe in sophomore jinxes, but we're hoping that last year was a learning lesson and that it was a steep learning curve for him and that it's all roses in year number 2, relatively speaking, as we look to see more improvement from him. Was there anything of value last year? No, I mean, he really struggled last year. So it just seems like it's one of those situations where the arrow was definitely pointing up on that kid. Let's see what we got. Alrighty then. Okay, doing pretty good on time here. Jeremy Pena. This is a guy I was avoiding like the plague last year. Jeremy Pena. I wanted no part of Jeremy Pena last year. Yeah, I think he was drafted. He was being ranked too high, being drafted too early, and a lot of his success came from a short sample size in the playoffs for the Houston Astros in 2022. And yeah, he kind of came down to earth a little bit last year. Although there were some improvements, but a lot of it was, from a guy going. I mean, this is what we were hoping. This is what we're hoping not to expect from Anthony Volpe. If he ends up being like doing the exact same thing as Jeremy Pena did last year, then yeah, that's a cause for concern. So, but just like Volpe, we're expecting that maybe the arrow is up for Jeremy Pena, that this is the lowest that he'll go, and it's all smooth sailing from here. He'll have a third full season under his belt next year in 2024. Sorry, he'll come into 2024 with 2 years of experience, and by the time he finishes 2024, he'll have 3 years of experience. We're hoping that experience will add to him meeting his potential. Again, the hit tool is not as high as Anthony Volpe, but the power is supposed to be there. The speed is supposed to be there. 60 speed grade, according to Fangraphs. 55 future value. By comparison, Volpe was at 60. Did he at least improve his contact skills? Let me see. Plate discipline, contact. Yeah, he's actually worse than Volpe last year. He did make improvements, but not anything too major. He went from 71% to 73%, 2% improvement, but still, we're hoping for more for a guy like Jeremy Pena's stature. He's a very aggressive swinger, so that's good and bad for many reasons I'm not going to get to, because we've talked about this numerous times on the show, the benefits of being a aggressive swinger for a batter, a hitter. Let me take a sip of my coffee. I know it's late, but I'm not done drinking my coffee yet. Still have a little bit left. JP Crawford's my second shortstop to look at. It's as the Rates and Barrels podcast would say, this is oatmeal. This is oatmeal. Oatmeal player, safe floor. At 28 years old, 29 in January for the 2024 campaign. It's as safe of a pick as you can get. Yeah, last year was a career year for him, but it might be worth latching onto. He does a good job of controlling his strikeouts and posting high walk rates. The lack of stolen bases will hurt him, but compared to everybody else on that list at number 24, according to ESPN's top 300 rankings at that position at shortstop, you could do a lot worse than him. He posted a really good on base percentage last year, 380. But the concern is that there's a lot of flukiness to this game, because these were all, I mean, you talk about career high. It was like career high for JP Crawford. It almost looks a little fraudulent. So when I see things like that, I look at the plate discipline numbers to see if I can get any clues as to what might have changed. Well, he's always been a very patient hitter. Always been a very patient hitter, and he was super patient last year. He posted his lowest swing rate of 38.5% in 2023. And he still is posting contact rates around above 80%. So that's to his favor. But he really doesn't do a good job of contact outside the strike zone. But again, he's a very patient hitter, so it maybe not matter. Maybe there's just not enough chances for him to swing at those outside pitches, because he's always looking for those inside juicy pitches, and it worked for him last year. But yeah, he's always had the discipline. It just, does it translate to production? And normally it doesn't for him. And let's see, what did he do? Let's go to StatCast data. Yeah, career high exit velocity. he went back to double-digit launch angles after going 2 years, the last 2 years, doing single digits, which means that he was basically hitting the launch angle would result when it's in single digits. It usually results in more ground balls. So 4.8 barrel rate, that's a career high for him last year, and a 36.2% hard hit rate, also a career high. But yeah, even the Statcast numbers when it comes to their expected batting average, expected slugging, expected weighted on base average, they're screaming fluke, fluky, fluke. This guy's a fraud. BABIP says otherwise. Batting average on balls in play 314, which is not too high. It's not like he's posting a ridiculous high amount of BABIP. It's about 300 is about average, normal. 314 is not that high. I don't think it is. Yeah, at least in my experience, it shouldn't be. Let's see. The other thing I want to look at for this guy, ball rate, batted ball rate. He posted the lowest ground ball rate of his career last year since 2018 when he was with the Phillies. He's been posting a line drive rate of about 23% throughout his career. That's his career average, it's about 23%. And the fly ball rate was the highest it's been since 2018 with the Phillies. So there's something that he went back to when he was in his second year with the Philadelphia Phillies that he liked. He pulled the ball more than he has ever done so in his career since the 2018 Philly campaign that he had. So he's being a little bit more aggressive, pulling the ball more. So hopefully the 19 home runs from your 24 best shortstop, it's not too bad. I think a lot of people would take that if you are waiting around for shortstops and looking for those players to fill out the back end of your roster. Then we get to the fun part of this exercise. We get to the players, shortstops ranked between 34 and 50. Jordan Lawler from the Arizona Diamondbacks is one guy who, yeah, a lot of the lists around the 34 to 50 range is a bunch of veterans who don't really excite me as much. But Jordan Lawler, there's something to keep an eye on. He has potential power speed combination. Yeah, the hit tool is kind of missing. It's fine. I mean, I'll survive. I'll live with that. He didn't get a lot of playing time at AAA last year, but at AA he posted 15 home runs and 33 stolen bases. He only got 80 plate appearances at AAA before the Diamondbacks decided, yeah, let's go. We could use a guy like him for the stretch run. And he struggled. I mean, it's tough to put a rookie like him in that scenario to be a guy who can come off the bench and play as needed whenever he's summoned randomly. So hopefully in the future, well, let's take a look. Where do the Diamondbacks? I mean, just from looking at this, I expect him to start the year at AAA once again and get a full, almost maybe at the very least a half season of seasoning down there. Yeah, I don't see him on the Diamondbacks starting roster here, according to the roster resource. Yeah, your AAA starting shortstop. That sounds about right. But there's a lot to like about this kid. Yeah, real kid, 21 years old. He barely is old enough to drink at this point. Alcohol. Yeah, just keep an eye on him. Jordan Lawler. You might have to reach for him. For those savvy fantasy owners, 36 is just. I mean, I'm looking at my chops at the potential. I mean, I might just forego getting a Jeremy Pena or a JP Crawford just so I can get a chance to get another guy whose name starts with the letter J, Jordan Lawler. So yeah, pure speculation pick, but it might be worth it in the long run. And then at number 38, I repeat, you cannot go in any of these drafts. I don't care what kind of league you're in. If you're in a redraft league, dynasty league, if you're in a dynasty league, it's over. You're not getting Jackson Holiday. Maybe in a keeper league, you might be able to snatch him up. I know in the Baseball Life League, we're going to start over our, what do you call it? We're going to redraft and start from scratch. And then we're going to have 3 players to keep for 2025, 6 in 2026, 9 in 2027. But we do get 5 minor league slots to play with, and those guys are permanent. Well, every 3 years we restart everything, so it doesn't really matter. But this is ideal scenario to get a Jackson Holiday, and you just put him in your minor league slot and you protect him. And hopefully the Orioles, I mean, he's penciled in as a starting shortstop for the Orioles right now. Former son of a Major League Baseball player, Matt Holliday. I'm sorry, what the hell did I just say? The son of a former Major League Baseball player, Matt Holliday. The first pick overall in the 2022 draft. Hit tool, power, speed combo, 60 future value. I absolutely love this kid. I like everything about him. The more I read about him, the more excited I get for him. You might say, well, his minor league numbers, the Orioles are just they're putting him through the fast track of this whole situation. He played at 5 different 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, check that. 4 different levels last year. Single A, high A, double A, triple A. He stole 17 stolen bases at high A in only 57 games. He has a good batting eye, good plate discipline, great plate approach. The power isn't quite there yet, but he has this natural ability just based on his 17 stolen bases. He has this really natural ability, athletic ability to steal all those bases. And let's face it, he's a big name minor league prospect. If you're in a redraft league, I think you owe it to yourself to kind of get him, and maybe even reach for him late in drafts, not wait till the very last minute. 38 shortstop. Yeah, he's going to get drafted I think he's going to get drafted within the top 25. And this is going to be, everybody's going to be reaching for him. So there's your game plan coming into the season if you're looking, again, to draft a shortstop very late in your drafts in 2024. Josh Jung. Now, this guy, the last time Sean and I had an episode together, we had this discussion about Josh Jung and Eugenio Suarez. Sean insisted that Suarez was the better choice over Jung. I wholeheartedly disagree, and I'm glad to know if you guys look at the Roto standings, Roto rankings for each position over at Fantasy Pros, despite the fact that Jung did not play in as many games as Suarez, Josh Jung ended up being the more dependable third baseman in Roto leagues, which is something I keep telling you guys. Why draft Eugenio Suarez when you can draft a guy with a high prospect pedigree in Josh Jung almost 100 picks later? Don't pick Eugenio Suarez next year. I urge you guys, please let someone else deal with that nonsense. But I think Josh Jung, I mean, yeah, he was hurt, but he still gave you 515 plate appearances, 23 home runs. The strikeouts were pretty high, but it's okay. Growing pains, we'll live with those. I think this is one of those where you just hope that he improves, but the power is just too much to ignore at this point. Number 10 third baseman. Do you start him at third base though? That's just, I don't know, man. The way I see it, if you don't get a guy like Josh Jung, you're stuck with, I guess, Ha-Seong Kim, but his value is more at shortstop. Spencer Steer. That's, you know what? If you guys want to play that game, you can get both Josh Jung and Spencer Steer. Spencer Steer, another young player, up and coming player, more of a safer floor player, but limited upside. But I mean, again, plays for the Reds, plays in that great ballpark, hitter's ballpark. Lot to like. I like Spencer. I love Spencer Steer. I absolutely do. There's a lot to love about him. So that's your safe floor guy. Josh Jung is the high upside guy with the explosive bat. Otherwise, you're stuck with guys like Alec Bohm. Well, I guess Alec Bohm has been doing much better recently, but still, I'd rather not deal with that. Brian Hayes, yeah, I'm not dealing with that. Max Muncy, ugh, I'm sorry. Jake Berger at number 16, no, I don't think so. I'll pass. Yeah, because their third base is once again deep again. Royce Lewis has moved up at the number 6 spot, which is crazy to me. Manny Machado at number 7, Nolan Arenado at number 8, Alex Bregman at number 9. Josh Young at number 10. So you definitely have options. I would still like to live in a world where I can get Josh Young and see if he can improve the contact rates, limit his strikeouts, see how many more home runs he can hit for my team, and how many, and hopefully it translates into runs and RBI as well. How did Josh Young do in the minors? Let's quickly find out. I know he was hurt for that one. Okay, so at AAA, I feel like we've had this discussion before. Yeah, the strikeouts have always been there, but he was also, how old was he at AAA in 2020? 24 years old. Oh, okay. But though I believe he's been coming back from injury. Oh, that was in 2020 because okay, never mind. But this first full season at AAA in 2021, after a pretty damn good campaign at AA, 9 home runs, almost matched the 10 home runs he hit at AA in 2021. Was able to control his strikeouts, walked in double-digit walk rates, and I think he got hurt. I forgot what the injury was. We talked about it in the last episode, but 2022. Oh yeah, 2022. Something happened where he had to kind of relearn everything on all over again. So he's a work in progress, but I still believe that in the long run, a guy of his pedigree should be able to reward you more than penalize you. If anything, third base is just so deep. I mean, there's options. Isaac Paredes at number 17. I cannot speak enough about this guy. Absolutely adore him. Team Mexico has this ability to hit for power and post high contact rates. It's basically he's a right-handed version of Tristan Casas, but without the unlimited upside that Casas seems to have with that bat of his. But Paredes, at the age of 24, oh my God, he's still young, man. If he were on any other team, he would be playing every day, which might be to his detriment, I'll admit. I know the Rays do a pretty good job with their players and putting them in positions to succeed. But man, I wish he could get more playing time. How much he played? 571 plate appearances, but I had him last year, and it just seemed like every other game he was getting benched. So the playing time is there, but it's very inconsistent because the Rays play everybody, unfortunately. Paredes, as of right now, penciled in as the third baseman. I don't see any platoon situation going on. So hopefully next year he can get all the playing time he can handle. And then we'll see what he's really made out of. But that's an intriguing pick. Like I said, can walk, limits his strikeouts, hits for a ridiculous amount of power. What was his ISO last? 238 isolated power after posting a 230 ISO power in 2022. I mean, I can't sing this guy's praises enough. This is it right here. You can't and again, I think he's ranked number 17 for all the same concerns I have about him playing with the Tampa Bay Rays. But boy, oh boy, there's a lot to love about this guy. Now, the StatCast numbers show a guy that shouldn't be this impressive, that he shouldn't be posting 31 home run campaigns. But that's why I say he's kind of a unique player, because conventional wisdom shows that he should be more of a punch and Judy guy because of the high contact rates and the low explosive bat that he has. But this guy, all he does is he hits fly balls. And I know this is kind of hypocritical of me because I used to rag on Nolan Arenado for just being a guy who hits a lot of fly balls and hopes for the best. Well, so does Paredes, but it's more impressive that Paredes is able to do it. Call me biased. I don't care. I do love me, Isaac Paredes. Let's see here. 82.8%. So the contact rate dropped, but you got your 31 home run campaign out of it. And just the plate discipline is just otherworldly. And I can't say enough about Isaac. I really love him. I will be targeting him in the middle of the drafts as my corner infielder or backup third baseman, and hopefully he'll play other positions as well. Yeah, because I think he also qualifies at first base. Where the heck is he? Yeah, qualifies at first base, and in years past he's also qualified second base. Noelvi Marte, yes. I mean, this is a guy. I mean, this is a guy you got to get. I mean, I'm not saying you have to reach for him, but after your infield position is set, and you're looking for high upside guys, this is it right here, man. Noelvi Marte. Remember that name if you don't know it by now for the Cincinnati Reds. I told you this is going to be a podcast full of Reds players. I already mentioned Spencer Steer, and I already sang his praises. It's Noelvi Marte's time. He was brought up as a shortstop, but then eventually did play third base. And he did show a lot of promise last year. Posted a really good triple slash line, 316, 366, 456 slugging percentage. 3 home runs along with 6 stolen bases and only 35 games last year. Like he was able to produce late in the year. I mean, I actually started him in I believe I started him in my championship game for the Baseball Life League. That's how much I believed in him to do something and to help me win the championship. At number 19, as the number 19 best third baseman, it's worth it. It's worth rolling the dice. And unfortunately, he is a big name prospect, so he will come with a premium, but I think he'd be worth reaching for at that time. So there's really some good options at third base. I wouldn't I wouldn't have Paredes or Marte as my starting third baseman, but if something happens, and like it's been known to happen to me, where I just concentrate on one position too much, where I got too many outfielders, but now I don't have a third baseman. That's okay. I'll start Isaac Paredes and Noelvi Marte and hope for the best. You know, you want to get like a guy maybe like a Manny Machado and then get him Noelvi Marte with the high upside. So the name of the game is to get established players. But if you want to be adventurous like I am, go for it, man. You could do a lot worse at third base. I mean, like I said, third base is deep. But then there is a limit to third base. I think let's take a look at that list again one more time on the other screen. Yeah, Eugenio Suarez at number 20, Michael Garcia 21. I guess you could live with that. 22, Ryan McMahon. So yeah, 24, Matt Chapman. I know people love Matt Chapman in the Baseball Life group. I don't know why. Wilmer Flores, I'll live with that at number 25. DJ LeMahieu, at least you know what to get from him. Yohan Moncada at 28. So we got options here. I'm not saying they're the best options, but you have options. But then you go to that 34 and 50 spot, and the well kind of runs thin. But Brian Rocchio, let's call him Rocchio, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't mind. Let's see here. Big contact guy. Has some latent power. Oh, that's not him. That's Noelvi Marte. Sorry about that. But no, he's one of those high contact rate guys for sure. Only 22 years old. We will be 23 in January though. So did not have a really good debut for the Guardians last year. But he has shown the ability to just post a high contact rate. He does come with a high hit tool, but not much of anything else. Will probably qualify at multiple positions, third base, shortstop, probably situation. Yeah, and has shown that he could steal some bases. And AA in 2022 AA, he stole 12 stolen bases in 99 games. In 116 games, he stole 25 stolen bases at AAA in 2023. Can control his strikeouts, at least in the minors. He was able to show that. But no, the name of this guy's game is the contact rate, which it's a lot to like about that. I know that he also, I thought I saw that he had posted some decent power numbers, 13 home runs in AA 2022. So, not the sexiest of picks, but there is some intrigue there. And there is some potential pop, but it is the Guardians. So the Guardians, they do like their players to hit for more contact than they do for power. That is the Guardian way in Cleveland. But there is a lot of intrigue about this guy, Brian Rocchio, who at one point was a highly touted prospect, number 36 overall, according to Fangraphs last year, number 2 for the Guardians last year. So it might be worth keeping an eye on and taking a flyer on him next year. I know I'm not doing a good job of convincing you guys, but the pickings are slim at third base once you get past the number 30 spot. So Rocchio, number 46. And finally, Curtis Mead, another highly touted prospect of the Tampa Bay Rays. might be worth the price of admission. He might get traded, and then we're gonna see what he's made out of if he ever gets the playing time that he deserves to have. If he were on any other team, he would be getting regular playing time right now. I do believe that. Curtis Mead in the minors. This thing will cooperate with me. At AAA last year, 9 home runs in 61 games, 4 stolen bases. Did a good job keeping his strikeout rate well below 20%, 17% last year's strikeout rate, 12.6% walk rate. So that's good. We love that. Posted a very impressive triple slash line, 123 WRC plus. So he was 23% better than league average hitters last year at AAA. What did he do at AA when he in 2022 when he had 246 plate appearances, 10 home runs, 6 stolen bases. Again, good walk rate, good strikeout rate, impressive triple slash line. 55 hit tool with 60 power. So there is potential for that power. Maybe not the speed, but definitely the power average combo that we want to see from some of these players. 55 future value. So it's pretty darn high there. Again, if he were on any other team, he would be getting all the opportunities to play on a regular basis. Let's move over to outfield. Luis Robert Jr. I'm never going to give up on Luis Robert. Never, ever going to give him up. If he could just stay healthy, that's always been his MO. If he could just stay healthy, the sky's the limit for this guy. I still think he's the most freakish athlete in all of Major League Baseball. And I know I'm wearing my White Sox hat today, so a little bit of bias there, but still, I do believe in him. There's a lot of red flags with him, I will admit. But 38 home runs, 20 stolen bases. I mean, if people tell me how important the counting stats are in fantasy, I usually try not to go with that, but that's pretty damn good. Just one of the most explosive players out there. And he's going in at number 10. Outfield is pretty deep in terms of the elite players. I mean, Yordan Alvarez was going number 8 ranked player, Yordan Alvarez, which is bonkers to me. I know it's because of the lack of stolen bases, but still, that's just crazy to me to think. So, but Robert has 30-30 potential, 35-35 potential, maybe. Like I said, I still believe in him. Although outsider looking in, you might say, oh, but the arrow's pointing down. Do you want him to be your primary outfielder? If the name of look at the other options at outfield, and you tell me who you guys would prefer. There it is. Again, Yordan Alvarez at number 9. I stand corrected. Luis Robert, number 10. Michael Harris, who is actually at number 11, and he's my second sleeper pick at outfield. Michael Harris is second, more of a balanced player, also pretty athletic, but he's able to balance and hone in on those skills. Good contact rate, limits of strikeouts from what I remember. So it's more of a safe pick than an upside pick. Not that explosive, but I actually be more uncomfortable having a guy like Michael Harris as my starting outfielder. But again, I ask you people, Luis Robert, Michael Harris, Adolis Garcia, who's basically Luis Robert, but people love Adolis Garcia more than they like Robert for obvious reasons. The health. He plays on a more fun team. The White Sox are dreadful to watch, but Garcia really has it's just raw athleticism and no skill, no real Major League Baseball skill set to talk about. I know he always posts just laughable on base percentages, but he hits those big home runs in key situations. But man, if we're talking from an entire year of putting up with someone, I'd rather put up with Luis Robert than Adolis Garcia. At least Robert, from a fantasy standpoint, will provide stolen bases. God, 328 on base percentage, 245 batting average. I mean, that just no, man. I'd rather, and I know what you're saying. Well, Robert, no, but okay, Robert, 26 years old. Garcia, Adolis Garcia, already 30, 31 in March. I'd rather not. I'd rather go with Robert's youth than Adolis Garcia's out of nowhere peak. Let someone else worry about Adolis Garcia. Randy Arozarena, he comes with a lot of red flags as well. He's a very streaky hitter. Like, yeah, he ended up being my number one outfielder last year. No, wait, sorry. Well, he was my more consistent outfielder because Julio Rodriguez in the podcast league was just so inconsistent to start the year off. So Aneros Arena kind of picked up the slack, but as he's prone to do, he is very streaky. So speaking of streaky, Cody Bellinger. I mean, do we really, really trust that everything's been resolved? It was the shift all along that was holding him back. I don't know, man. I rather not. I rather not. I feel like Robert is the more safe pick. As crazy as that sounds, I'd rather not deal with Cody Bellinger. Kristen Yelich is on. Well, he's getting up there in age. Good bounce back year last year, but I'd rather not deal with it. Kyle Schwarber, yeah, though. If you're Kyle Schwarber's your number one outfielder, you're screwed. Please don't do that. Don't do that. So yeah, so those are my two guys, Luis Robert, Michael Harris. If I can get both of those guys, Robert's high upside and Michael Harris is safe floor, I think I would be pretty set. We move on to the next year, 16 players 16 to 33. Nolan Jones, this is a guy I talked about at nauseum last year. Former Guardians prospect. He goes to the Rockies. Takes the Rockies a while to bring him up. I don't know why the Rockies don't have anyone or anything worth of note in their minor league system. They are a joke of a franchise. So I'm glad that Jones was able to take advantage of the playing time eventually. He does come with a high strikeout rate, but he did post a 12.5% walk rate last year. So that's pretty darn good. All things considered, you don't want the strikeout rate to be that high, but it's helpful when it comes with a double-digit walk rate. The best part of Nolan Jones is that he wasn't just all power and that was it. He also chipped in 20 stolen bases, so he also took advantage of the new rules. But yeah, the power is real. He plays in Colorado. The 401 BABIP, that is a cause for concern, but I do believe that the power does play in Colorado, and you should take advantage of that. Honestly, you should. 90 miles per hour exit velocity, 15.7% barrel rate. You can't teach that. Well, maybe you can, but Nolan Jones already had that to begin with. That ability to put the barrel on the barrel on the ball. So yeah, a lot to like here. But like I said, there's plenty of red flags. But he's posted 70% plus contact rates in the last two seasons, both in Cleveland and in Colorado. So I guess that's the sweet spot right there. It's a very patient hitter. So that's prone to seeing a lot of pitches, and the more pitches you see, the more strikeouts. You're more likely to strike out because it's just, yeah, more pitches decreases your chance of getting lucky on those at bats against pitchers. But overall contact rate 71%, 70%, hovers around 71%. If they could stay like that in 2024, I think you guys would have a steal. Number 18th ranked Nolan Jones. Is that a little high? Yeah, it probably is. But all things considered, there's a top heavy position after Nolan Jones is Mike Trout at number 19. You know that you could Mike Trout, yes. That I think a lot of folks would be happy if Mike Trout would slip to them at number 19. But let's face it, this is a guy, Mike Trout, that will have to be reached for. So in that essence, you could say, well, Cockcroft is wrong for putting Trout at 19. He should be higher than that, maybe in the top 10, top 15, top 12. He should be a starting center fielder. I would definitely pick Mike Trout over Adolis Garcia, as crazy as that sounds. I don't know if I would put him ahead of Randy Arozarena. I trust him, Trout, more than I do Cody Bellinger, though. But again, the reason he's dropped in these rankings is because of the injuries. And if he does come back, will he steal bases? But when he's healthy, he's one of the more naturally gifted hitters in all of Major League Baseball. But yeah, he's getting up there in age. The injuries are piling up. So, but you know what? The number 19, and if he's your second outfielder, take advantage. Why not? But we all know who Mike Trout is, right? We all know who Brian Reynolds is. We all know who George Springer is. That's why I didn't pick any of those guys, even though the ranking might be low enough where you can kind of snatch up any of those guys. I went with Josh Lowe at number 22. He's a guy who's been on my radar. The Tampa Bay Rays finally gave him another chance to succeed, and he took advantage of the playing time. So hoping for more. But yeah, this is the guy who in the 2022 draft in the Baseball Life League, it came down to either Stephen Kwan or Josh Lowe. I went with Josh Lowe, and that ended up biting me a little bit. Stephen Kwan had a pretty good year in 2022, and I ended up cutting Josh Lowe anyway because he just wasn't doing it for me. He got sent back immediately to the minors and never heard from him again in 2022. But in 2023, 135 games, 501 plate appearances, 20 home runs, 32 big whopping stolen bases. Showed that he was able to scale back into strikeouts at almost he got it under 25% strikeout rate. He's not a guy who walks a lot, at least from what I remember in the minors. Let's see here really quick. I guess he could. He has shown the ability to post double-digit walk rates. But the reason you get off to Josh Lowe is because of that 25-25 home run, excuse me, home run stolen base potential. Now, are there any red flags as far as skill set goes? I mean, 11% barrel rate, only a 39.7 hard hit rate. So that's kind of a perplexing to see. But still, you'll take it. Plate discipline. Here we are. Yeah, a very aggressive swinger, but he did post a 72.3% contact rate. But yeah, this is a guy who will be prone to high strikeouts, so be careful with that. But again, in this situation, I think the benefits outweigh the risks. I think that the 30-30 potential, well, more like 20, I think it's more 25-25 potential. It's just too good to pass up on. So Evan Carter at number 29, that's ridiculously low for a guy. I think he's gonna be snatched up pretty quick. I think he was a top 25, maybe even top 20 outfielder just because of what he did in the playoffs last year for the Texas Power Rangers. Yeah, see, he did post impressive numbers, but he also posted a 32% strikeout rate, but it did come with a 16% walk rate. So that's good. We want to see that. Last year at Double A, 12 home runs, 22 stolen bases. So again, more of that Josh Lowe the pedigree that we're looking for is similar, not the same, but similar. It's that power speed combo. How was his plate discipline numbers last year in the majors? Very, very patient hitter. Is that really him though? The walk and strikeout percentages in the minors would state that it is 70.4% contact rate. So yeah, that's gonna so it remains to be seen if he can duplicate that in his first full season next year. So we'll see about that. But I think at that point, as a number 29th ranked outfielder, and a guy who's probably going to be your second, or maybe even if you're lucky, maybe your third outfielder, that might be worth the risk. As your second outfielder, that might be reaching a little bit too much. But again, let's go back to the big board here. Spencer Steer, number 30, but I think his value is going to go up because of third base eligibility. Ian Happ, we all know who Ian Happ is. Do we want to? It's kind of, I don't want to say boring because there is value in Ian Happ, but there's not that potential that Evan Carter shows. Like it's safe floor but limited upside. Jorge Soler, we already know who he is. TJ Friedl, yeah. So I'd rather have Evan Carter. Stephen Kwan. No, absolutely not. Brandon Nimmo, he did put pretty good home run totals last year, but nah. Masataka Yoshida, maybe Yoshida should be ranked a little bit higher than that. Where's he at right now? 36 overall. I still would take Evan Carter and roll the dice with him and hope for the best. But Yoshida as a number 2 outfielder, that's pretty safe. Pretty safe floor. You know what to expect. It's not going to hurt you too much. And then you got a guy like S4E23 Ruiz, no. Jordan Walker, that's a little bit more riskier. At least Evan Carter can get you that power speed combination. Tommy Edman, absolutely not. Jarren Duran, no. But let's 34 and 50 now. Then jumping the gun a little bit here. Jordan Walker. Not. I'm not saying he's better than. Definitely, I don't. I would prefer Evan Carter over Jordan Walker, but I'm not giving up on Jordan Walker just yet. I think he does have the tools to be a successful Major League Baseball player. He'll be 22 in May next year. Showed the ability to, for a rookie, 22% strikeout rate. You'll take that. You'll be happy with that. Posted a respectable triple slash line. Again, he's just a rookie. So the plate approach is there for the kid. But the reason why you go after a guy like Jordan Walker is because of the immense power potential, 80 grade power potential for this guy. So yeah, that's 38 overall in the rankings. I think everybody else who's listening, you are free to move him up the rankings on your list there. Jarren Duran, okay, yeah, Team Mexico bias, but also at number 40 ranked, you're looking for a guy with stolen bases, and it looks like the Red Sox are gonna be able to provide him playing time. They just got rid of Alex Verdugo, so not that Verdugo was a threat, but that to me shows that the Red Sox are gonna be in need of Duran's services. And again, former highly touted prospect for the Boston Red Sox. He's currently listed as a leadoff hitter. He posted a 346 on base percentage last year. He is projected to get, 322. But still, 14 home runs and 24 stolen bases. I think people would be happy with that. 24 stolen bases last year. So this late in the draft at number 40, I think a lot of folks would be super happy with those numbers. Number 43. Now here's a guy. Riley Green. Yes, Riley Green. Move him up your rankings. We've been waiting for him to do something. He finally did it. Former first-round pick, number 5 overall, 2019 draft. Only downside is that he's left-handed. You guys know how I feel about left-handed hitters, but and he needs to control his strikeouts. But he showed something last year. Very respectable triple slash line. And he has proven in the minors, if I remember correctly, I'm just double checking. Okay, yeah, there is some power speed potential there. Just 10 stolen bases might be the safe guess. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets it up to 15 though. Maybe even 20 on a freakishly good year. But the hit tool, the power, this is why you draft a guy like Riley Green. And he showed a lot. 91.6 exit velocity, 11.3 barrel rate percentage, 46.6 hard hit rate. And the StatCast numbers show that he could be better than that. StatCast thinks that he, instead of hitting 447 slugging, he should be at 492. Instead of a WOBA, weighted on base average of 344, he should be at 363. We're talking about a potential elite hitter here. So I know he's raw still. He's still young. But it might be worth the price of admission here. This might be a game changer for you as your third outfielder, or maybe even your potential second outfielder if you want to take a chance on these younger outfielders. But yeah, as a number 43, if he's supposed to be the 43rd ranked outfielder, I mean, who would you guys prefer? Let's see. Going back to Cockreff's list, Riley Green or Starling Marte? I'm sorry, I'm taking Riley Green with me. James Outman? No, I'd rather have Green. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. I'd rather take my chances with Green. Christopher Morel? I'd rather take my chances with Green. Taylor Ward? Yuck. Kerry Carpenter? His teammate? Disgusting. Lars Nootbaar? Boring. Whit Merrifield? Yuck. And Jackson Churios? I mean, rookie. So no, you don't. You get Riley Green over Jackson Churio. Riley Green or let's see, guys who are ahead of Riley Green: Dalton Varsho, Chas McCormick, Jarren Duran. Although Jarren Duran is a specialty player, so you know why you draft Jarren Duran. Tommy Edman, Jordan Walker, Esterio Reese. Yeah, I think I would take Riley Green overall. A majority of those guys I just mentioned. Now we got to 51 and 65 ranked players, and you see Jackson Churio is the first man there. I think this is the kid who, first of all, I think last I checked, he's still a teenager, which is bonkers to me. Born in 2004. Oh, he'll be 20 come March. And I believe he's already listed in the 25, 26 man roster for the Brewers. Yep, starting lineup, center fielder, number 6 hitter. What do the projections say about him? Oh man. For your 52nd best outfielder, only 20 years old, 18 home runs, 17 stolen bases. The triple slash line is going to be a nightmare to deal with, but 18 and 17 this late in the draft, who says no? Like who complains about that, really? The hit tool is not there, but the power and speed combination, that's what we want to see. Power and speed combination. If yeah, that's all I'm looking for, guys. I don't care about some of these. I mean, Jaron Duran, I like him because he can post a high on base percentage and a pretty good contact rate. But power is speed is the name of the game. I want those players. I yearn for those players. There's going to be a lot of growing pains. It might be too risky, but it's a calculated risk, especially this late in the draft. The Brewers like him, so that's always important. That when a team likes you, I think this is the kid who signed that long-term deal as well. Something with 6 years, 100 million, I believe that was what it was, or something to that effect. I forget, and I'm too not worth looking up right now. Max Kepler. Now here's a guy. This is a guy, number 56 outfielder Kepler. Max Kepler of your Minnesota Twins. Saved my outfield situation for the Baseball Life League. Basically, in the Baseball Life League, I was just depending on Juan Soto, and that's it. That's all I had at outfield. A revolving door. Once I picked up Max Kepler, he was the consistent sidekick I needed at outfield. So I'm very thankful for him. I still believe in him. He was a guy who struggled because of the what do you call it, the shift the shift, the extreme shifts, I should say. Already a distant memory. It's only been 1 year, but it already feels like a distant memory. But I remember Sean and I, we looked at the numbers, and this is a guy who used to struggle a lot because of the shift being so extreme that they just kind of negated him. Last year he had a bounce back year, 24 home runs, 72 runs, 66 RBI. The strikeouts were pretty high, but it's okay. It's a reclamation project at the age of 30 years old. He's proven to be a solid hitter over the years. 332 on base percentage, 484 slugging percentage. Where's the StatCast numbers? 91.9 exit velocity, career high, 12.2% barrel rate, career high, 47.6% career high. The expected StatCast numbers also show that he could be a lot better than he showed last year in his career season in terms of those rate stats and those other StatCast numbers I just mentioned. I'm all on board with Max Kepler. I would be thrilled to have him back again on any of these teams as a safe floor, limited upside veteran player. Not even limited. I think there's still room for growth here at the age of 30 years old. There's some guys, for some reason, that they're late bloomers. Not that Kepler is a late bloomer. He hit 36 home runs in 2019, but that was a year of the rabbit ball. But really, this is a guy who was negated because of the shift. Well, the shift has been banned. We saw the benefits of it last year throughout the league. Kepler was Cody Bellinger is a guy who benefited immensely. Kepler is a guy who benefited as well, just by the overall numbers I see here. Career high batting average too. I didn't realize. So he's always had that potential. I believe that those numbers are real. I will go with the StatCast expected numbers as well. I'm all on board with Max Kepler being at number 56. Austin Hayes is another guy who been kind of waiting forever. It seems like every year Austin Hayes' name shows up on the Baltimore Orioles. He usually shows up at the very, very, very back end of a lot of my rankings throughout the last 5 or 6 years. He finally got enough playing time last year. Actually, he's been getting playing time. I didn't realize that he was already getting the playing time. I just feel like he doesn't get enough playing time. I don't know why. But 566 plate appearances, that should be plenty. 16 home runs, safe floor guy. There's really not much at this tier. Who else was behind him or in front of him? 56th ranked. Leody Taveras, it's stolen base guys. Jung Hoo Lee, unproven Korean player. Austin Hayes, there he is. Tommy Pham, too old. Andrew Benintendi, too boring. Luis Rengifo, nah. Gavin Lux, I'm done with him. Chris Bryant, absolutely not. MJ Melendez, no. Alex Verdugo, dull. Jared Kalenic, nah, not for me, bro. Sal Frelick, dull. So yeah, Austin Hayes is the guy to go before you get into that dead zone uh at the 60 spot, and then you get to players ranked 66 through 80. Let me move this over a little bit. We're almost done here, it seems like. Pete Crow Armstrong. Yeah, you know what? I believe a lot of these players are basically the same. Oh, okay, except for Jake Fraley. Jake Fraley, veteran player for the Cincinnati Reds, plays in a good ballpark, good batting lineup. I if I know that the Reds like to play around a lot with the lineup, so he will be suffering against left-handed hitters. He will be getting benched, but when he does play, he decent production out of the guy. 15 home runs, 21 stolen bases, in only 380 plate appearances last year. So do a lot worse than Jake Fraley this late in the draft. But Pete Crow Armstrong, just a pure speculation pick. I just think that he should be getting regular playing time with the Chicago Cubs. I know that the Cubs are pretending that they're going to be contending next year, but come on, Mike Taubman. Pete Crow Armstrong cannot make the major league roster because Mike Taubman is blocking him. Come on, guys. Let's not do this. Speed demon, Pete Crow Armstrong is. Caw. AAA last year, actually double A, yeah. 14 home runs in 342 plate appearances, 27 stolen bases, and a really good otherworldly triple slash line. He did the same thing at the age of 21 years old at AAA. The counting stats aren't as impressive, but he only had 158 plate appearances, 6 home runs, 10 stolen bases. Strikeout rate did go up, but God, he's 21 years old. Cut him some slack. And a pretty respectable triple slash line of 271, 350, 479. Again, 21-year-old at AAA. You could tell me that, well, that just shows that he needs more seasoning, but nah. Let's okay, maybe you're right, but still. But when the time it's all said and done, Pete Crow Armstrong should be getting regular playing time at center field for the majority of 2024 over Mike Taubman, who should be on the bench on a contending team. But this is the guy I'm excited about. Parker Meadows, number 78. He already got some exposure to Major League Baseball. He's listed as a number 1 hitter for the Detroit Tigers lineup. Power speed combination. Again, that's the name of the game. Power speed, power speed, power speed, power speed. Do not give me guys who only are these one-dimensional guys who will hurt your on-base percentage. Give me guys who can come with the power speed combination and post some respectable on-base percentages as well. I do believe Parker Meadows is the guy to do that for your team next year. So yeah, get excited. At number 83, Brendan Donovan. I really don't like Brendan Donovan, but he did show me something last year, so I think he might be worth the price of admission, especially super late in this draft. It might be what do you call it? Yeah, I think he's worth it next year. And he's still the Swiss Army knife. Probably will qualify at multiple positions. Where does Cockruff have him? I know people get excited when I mention the name Cockruff here. Donovan, Brandon Donovan. Looks like he qualifies at second base and outfield, according to the list here for ESPN. But you know that this guy is the Swiss Army knife for that Cardinals team. The reason why your favorite position player is always looking behind his back is because of Brendan Donovan. But 11 home runs, good for him, but still not what we're looking for. But what we do like is that he did post a 365 on base percentage in very limited playing time. He did get hurt. I forgot what the injury was. Let me see this. So here at Fangraphs, elbow, right? He had an elbow injury. Still, he was. I think he was on his way to having a really good, like, out of this world for him, just relatively speaking, for him, a really good season for himself, like an otherworldly season for himself. Like, I mean, he was already posting career highs everywhere else, so showing more pop than he has shown in the past. So, depending where they put him in St. Louis, and he might go a lot sooner. No, even then, at second base, he was still. Let's see, where was he at second base? Brendan Donovan, number The 31st second baseman. Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy. If he gets any semblance of playing time, I mean, Brendan Donovan is that guy, is the guy to get here. So yeah, proceed with confidence. Lamont Wade Jr. That's one of those specialty players for the San Francisco Giants. I believe Lamont Wade Jr. is left-handed, so he will. Yep, left-handed. So he will be in some sort of platoon system. That's okay. This is like a depth piece pick late in drafts. He should qualify at first base as well, but either way, either he gets picked this late in the outfield or he gets picked late at first base. It doesn't matter. He should be available in drafts, universal drafts all over the place. He is listed as a starting first baseman with no sign of a platoon situation. I'll believe it when I see it, but he does come with a decent pop. I mean, basically Brandon Belt. He's the reincarnation of Brandon Belt, fat-free Brandon Belt. There you go. And finally, we've got 3 more plays to go. I forgot when time we started, but if you made it this far, thank you so much for joining me on New Year's Eve. We get close to the new year here. Well, like I said before, hope everybody has a wonderful new year in 2024. Hope everybody's 2023 went very well as well. Matt Wallner, yeah, give me some of that. Matt Wallner for the Minnesota Twins. I like the Twins this upcoming season. A lot of injury concerns for the Twins, but then you got a guy like Matt Wallner who was able to post some respectable numbers last season and already has a starting nod according to roster resource. Well, left field, the left-handed portion of that platoon. So we might see Kyle Farmer, Willie Castro combinations, but 14 home runs, only a 249 batting average, but a whopping 370 on base percentage with a 507 slug. That is worth looking more into. Now, projections, so he will get 476 plate appearances. That's pretty darn good for a part-time player like him, a guy who is expected to share playing time next season. But 18 home runs, 235 batting average is not good. 334 on base projection is decent with a 427 slugging. That's more of a norm. But again, it's this late at number 96 outfielder. That is definitely worth discovering. Definitely worth kicking the tires on. Red flag though, he did go through AAA for the second time in his career last year. So it usually gets a lot easier that second time around. Does come with really high strikeout rates. But this late in the draft, you're going to give me a guy who can post a 507 slugging percentage in part-time duty in Major League Baseball. I think that's only 26 years old. Yeah, 26 going into 2024. I think that is definitely worth looking into. Ceddanne Rafaela for the Boston Red Sox. Again, it's one of those things where minor league prospect with high upside. He did get a cup of coffee last year for the Boston Red Sox with, from what I remember, disastrous results. Just waiting for this thing to load up. But I do believe that the path to playing time on the big league team is there for the taking. What you're gonna hold up? Your what? He has to be the number 1 prospect. Okay, number 3. Okay, wow. Okay, those are updated already. The number 3 prospect in the Red Sox system. Is that true? Wow. Sorry about that. Yeah, number 3. You're gonna hold back your number 3 prospect for a guy like Tyler O'Neill? Like, come on, man. Who's that right field? Weiler Abreu. Sorry, a combination of Weiler Abreu, Bobby Dahlback, Ref Schneider, maybe some Pablo Reyes for your ears. Really? So yeah, the path to getting major league at bats is pretty darn clear. Some red flags: 5'8", 145 pounds. Eat something. But it's all about the speed with this guy. Normally, like I said, I don't go after these one-dimensional players, but this late in the draft and a guy who has shown that he could steal 30 stolen bases in only 60 games at Double-A last year and posted some respectable home run totals, 14 home runs in Triple-A last year in only 48 games. And again, it comes with a high strikeout rate. So there's a learning curve to learn there. I'm sorry, the high strikeout rate came in the majors, but he has proven that he can definitely control the strikeout rate, but he doesn't walk enough to really have his numbers like pop out of the screen. But this is a complete counting stat pick selection here. If you can get a guy this late in the draft who can get you 20 or 35, 20 home runs, 35 stolen bases, you're set. Stash him away until he's ready to go, man. Last but not least, Will Benson, my guy, Will Benson. Currently, he's showing that he's on the bench for the Reds. The Reds are just loaded everywhere, as hard as it is for some people to believe. No, hold on. I don't think he's on the bench. Let me double check that. I thought he was on the bench, but no, I think he's part of a platoon, the strong side of the platoon there in Cincinnati. Yeah, left-handed, and might share some playing time with guys like Stuart Fairchild, maybe Christian Encarnacion Strand, maybe Jake Fraley, who I just was singing his praises, but I didn't realize that he was already, because they need to make room for Spencer Steer, who's playing left field, TJ Friedl, who I find it very hard to believe that TJ Friedl will be the full-time, unquestioned center fielder for the Reds. I mean, they got some guys that could play that position, and it's another team that likes to rotate guys in and out, in and out, in and out. So Will Benson is the starting right fielder, but he looks to be in a platoon system with a bunch of guys, and you got to get playing time to, again, Christian Encarnacion Strand, Stuart Fairchild, Jake Fraley. But when he's out there, Will Benson, I mean, he was just demolishing the crap out of the ball, just completely demolishing it. Now, he comes with some concerns, mainly the big strikeout rate, which is something that he has been struggling throughout his minor league career. But again, you live with that because he is able to post these ridiculous, consistent counting stats. At worst, he's a 15-15 guy, and at the best, I could see him, if he gets enough playing time, 20-20 guy, 20 home runs, 20 stolen bases. But I mean, look at this: 90.2 mile per hour exit velocity, 10.3 barrel rate, 41.1% hard hit rate. But yeah, there's a lot of reflex expected data. So yeah, a lot of that his production has to do with being in a very friendly ballpark. But still, as the number 105th outfielder, and I believe he's still young enough, 25 years old, 26 in June, 6'5", 230-pounder. It's a lot to like. There's a lot to like out of Will Benson this late in the draft. And I do have bias because I did depend on him last year in a lot of my leagues, whether it be a points league or a categories league, roto style categories league. Either way, they're all head-to-head leagues. Posted a respectable 70.5% contact rate. Not a lot, but for a guy that can get you explosive counting stat numbers, you live with that. It's the whole Nolan Jones things that I mentioned earlier today. And of course, the first guy we mentioned was Heston Kjerstad. And I'm hoping to do some pitchers either next week or sometime in January. And as we continue to get ready for the 2024 fantasy baseball draft season. And that's the list. How long did I go? Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's been a while since I talked to you guys. Hopefully you found this information usable and informative and entertaining. That's what we aim for, and get to learn about some players that you may not have heard of before, and some players to keep on your radar as well for the upcoming 2024 fantasy baseball drafts. With that being said, I don't know what the future holds for this podcast. I don't know who my podcast partner is going to be. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do more solo shows, although I'm more than capable of doing it. It's a lot more fun and a lot better when there's someone there having a conversation with you. Regardless, I also want to go back into blogging. I know that's kind of cliche, but kind of everybody has a blog. But yeah, I still would like to get back into writing, as haven't done some of that. I haven't done that in a long time. I do some long form writing on Facebook, but I don't know. I still kind of miss having my own website, having my own blog, having my own link. Like I can easily search for, if I talk about certain players in the past, like, yeah, well, here's some information I found out about this guy back in 2022, and it's interesting to see where he is at now. As you guys can tell, I'm a big research guy. I'm a big I just love doing baseball research, and I like to have some sort of platform where I not only talk about it, but I can have it in written form as well. So we'll see what the future holds in that. Hope if it's going to be a thing, a reality, it has to be done sometime before baseball draft season starts in March. Other than that, I am Felipe. Thank you for listening to the Total Basis podcast. And again, hope everybody has a wonderful 2024 year. And we'll see you next time. Have a good one, everybody.